Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another deck profile. Today I have the updated list finally for the Cell Surge Leader. I did drop a deck profile on this guy probably about a month or so back. And I had a couple proxies in there because a couple cards weren't out yet. It's a little bit of a different list. I've been working on this deck for a really long time and really waiting for it to hit its full potential. I think I have a really strong list. I'm not playing a lot of the cards. They're not playing some of the cards people are playing. I'm not playing the Ribriannes. I couldn't really get a hold of her. And honestly, you don't really, she's not required to play this deck. There's a couple other options that are like just fine. Like I've played the deck without Ribrianne and I've had no problems. I got my opponent down to 0 cards on the killing turn anyways, so you didn't really need her regardless. She's a great addition though. If you have Ribrianne, the Ribrianne that in your drop area, you can tap 2 green energy and you make your opponent drop 2 cards. If you have her, definitely put her in. If you have the apes and you want to put them in, put them in. But like those cards are kind of just like cards that'll make the deck function better, but they're not required for at least for my build. So let's go ahead and go into the deck profile. First, let's start out with the leader. We have the Cell Surge Leader. He's green-yellow, and his activate main is once per turn, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose a card, add it to your hand, and then choose 1 card from your hand, put it in your drop area. So you're basically net zeroing every single turn, but you get a top 5 search for literally any card in your deck. You can add Secret Rare to your hand, a negate, a key combo piece, whatever you need, you can add it to your hand, and you do not have to reveal it to your opponent because you get to add whatever card you want, so you don't have to reveal anything to your opponent. And then your Awakened Surge, you untap 2, draw 2 after putting 2 green or yellow cards underneath it. And then on his backside, Cell Perfection Surpassed, really cool. Finally got the foil leader for this as well. His activate main once per turn is you can do either everything your opponent plays for the next turn comes in rest mode, so you basically get to crush your ball anything they play automatically. And then his other effect is that you can choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards on the field with energy cost 1 or less, choose a 1-drop, and then pop it, and then your opponent discards a card from their hand. So you don't have to pop anything to make them discard, you can just, detach the discard. But getting rid of 1-drops is also pretty cool. There's a good amount of 1-drops in this game that people like to play. You can get rid of like a 1-drop blocker, you can get rid of like a 1-drop combo piece that your opponent's gonna need later on. So really cool, strong effect. And his stalling effect is also really great, being able to make your opponent's cards come in rest mode for the next turn. That's also a fantastic effect. So let's go ahead and get into the battle cards and everything like that. There really isn't any extra cards in this deck. I'm pretty sure I'm only playing like 3 extra cards, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So first we have our 1-drops. We're gonna go from there. Quick Sweep 17. If there is a Cell on your board, he becomes a 3-drop. That's about all he does. And then in the drop area, if there are no cards on the board, you can play him from your drop area for 1 green energy. So that's literally all he does, but you really do need him in the deck. Then we're playing 4 of the Android 17 negates. It's a negate, and then you also get to choose up to 1 4 or less card in your deck and send it to your drop area. There's a few targets for that you want to have in your drop area, so that's why he's in the deck. Then we're playing 4 of the Analyza check lands. You do want to have these, honestly. Green yellow is very important in this deck. The mixture of green and yellow is very important. You're going to definitely want to use the check lands. Not having them kind of does clunk up the deck a little bit because you're not really able to charge consistently. 4 G.O.D super combos. If you want to play the Android 18 super combos, be my guest, go ahead. They're totally fine if you want to do a 2-2 split. I just don't personally feel the need for it, but they're perfectly fine. I recommend if you want to do it, go ahead. Then we're playing 2 Android 15. He's just another way to help you get to your successor. You can tap 1 energy to combo with him, and then at the end of your combo, as long as you take 1 or 2 cards from your life and play him, he can come into play as long as it's your opponent's turn. And then you get to untap an energy if you did take life. So if it's on your opponent's turn, you can kind of basically arrival him in, and then on your turn, you'll be able to successor. So it's really cool. Then we have the Cell Android Absorber. I'm sure you guys are aware of how broken this card was for a while before his errata, but he comes into play as long as there's an Android 17 on your board, from your drop area. So you play the Quick Sweep for 1 energy, you get the Cell from the drop area for another 1 energy. Now you have 6 on the board, so you can successor into higher successor targets from that point on. So really good, and he makes your opponent drop a card whenever you play him. That used to be loopable, but it's not loopable anymore. And then his other effect is that whenever he leaves the field by a skill, you get to choose 1 Android 18 of energy cost of 3 from your drop area and play her with her skills negated. So again, kind of just helps you continue to successor forward. We're playing 2 Chomp of the Trickster, another 3-drop, which is very important. Pay attention to that. Pretty much everything I have in this deck somehow adds up to 6, 9, 12. So 3 drops are very important. And plus Chomp is just a great card, still a great card, choosing something, ignoring barrier, switching into rest mode, helping you stop a threat, helping you survive longer, fantastic way. And plus he draws you a card. Then we're going to be playing, these are our Android 18 targets here. We have 2 Deadly Defenders. She kind of comes up every once in a while defensively if they get rid of my the cell, or if I successor away the cell and I want to play Android 18 from the drop area, swing with her really quick, and that way on my opponent's turn, when her effects are no longer negated, she's still my Deadly Defender, so kind of protects me there. And then we have the 1 Android 18 Imminent Danger. For 1 energy, you can choose a 1-drop from your drop area and add it to your hand. Sometimes it does come up in order to kind of continue the successor plays. Sometimes you might stall out and you want to recycle a 1-drop. It does come up every once in a while, but not very often. I just like having her in there as an additional option. And then, of course, the promo Android 18. I really don't think you need to play more than 1, if I'm being completely honest with you. You're only really going to use her effect literally 1 time in that game, and you're probably going to win if you can get it off. If she ends up in your life, I mean, it's not really that big a deal. There's other ways to get to your 12. So I don't really see the need to play more than 1 copy of her. Plus, she is pretty expensive. But yeah, I don't really see the need of playing more than 1 copy of the Android 18. So her effect, the one that really matters, if there's no other cards on your field except for Cell, you can tap 1 energy from your drop area, and she comes into play. You can go from your successor plays from there. So that's what she does. This is my substitute for the Ribriannes, the Krillin and 18. I kind of just like them better because there's also a defensive aspect to them where you can choose a keyword skill on one of your opponent's battle cards and negate it for the turn. So if someone's coming after you for a game-ending triple strike, you can just kind of combo in Arrival the Krillin and 18, get rid of that triple strike, take the 1 damage instead. So fantastic. Also, you know, it makes you drop a card. So I like having them in there in the deck instead of the Ribriannes, and plus they're way cheaper. So I recommend as an alternative option if you guys want them. Then we're going to be playing 3 Broly All Out Assault. He's just a great card. There's no reason not to play him. If you're playing green-yellow, Broly All Out Assault should be in your deck. There's no other reason not to play him. You can pop a card, tap something, draw a card. If you tap something, he's 25k. There's just honestly no reason not to play him. He's just a fantastic card. Then we're playing Cell, Devourer of the Masses, your 2 successor. For 2 energy, or sorry, your 6 successor for 2 energy. So if you successor this over the Android 17 Quick Sweep and the 3-drop Cell that plays from your drop area, he comes out, your opponent drops another card, so that's 2 cards they dropped if you did the Cell that same turn. 2 cards that they dropped, and you can also pop something ignoring barrier, which is also a fantastic effect. And then he has a little bit of inherent protection. He doesn't have barrier, but he has another way of protection where if your opponent were to KO him or remove him by a skill, you get to draw 3 cards. So yeah, honestly, I kind of like that effect a little bit better than barrier, because now I'm kind of hoping my opponent would pop him so I can just draw 3. They're not going to. I promise you, no good player in Dragon Ball Super, unless they're already ahead of you, is gonna let that effect get off. And I guarantee by the turn he comes out is usually about turn 3. There's really no scenario in which your opponent is that much ahead of you on turn 3 that they should feel comfortable in popping this Cell and allowing you to draw 3 cards, because you're definitely probably going to be ahead of them by that point. An extra 3 cards in your hand is going to be really bad for your opponent. So he's fantastic, 25k. Just a little, just a hint for you guys, if you haven't noticed, you're not really swinging with any of these cards in this deck and Cell. Your goal is pretty much to activate and Super 17 as early as you can. Get your opponent down and crit them that 4 life, and then you can kill them from there. But until then, you're really not swinging at them because you don't really get any cards in hand. And then next, we have the newest addition to the deck. Finally got my hands on these guys. I pre-ordered them a long time ago. The 9-drop Cell, the Dark Parasite, an absolutely amazing card. This card honestly brought the whole deck together and made it way more playable than it was before. So let's go ahead and go over his activate main. He's got a lot of text here. So if your leader card is a green-yellow multicolor Cell and you send this card from your drop area to your warp, you can draw 1 card and then add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So you basically get to draw 2 from him being in your drop area. And then your other activate main is if your leader card is a green-yellow multicolor Cell card. If you have 4 more energy and you choose all your non-token battle cards and then place them in the owner's drop areas, play this card from your hand, and you can't play copies of this card for the rest of the turn. So he kind of has like a pseudo successor effect, where as long as you have cards on the board in any way, even if it's just 1 card on the board, it doesn't matter how many there are, he can come into play by blowing that card up or those cards up. So now you have a 9 on the field, and you can successor so easily because of that. So this card is really what you want a hard mulligan for pretty much every game with this deck. You need at least 1 copy in your hand. And the rest of the copies, the reason why you want to do that is because the rest of the copies, you want to put them in your drop area to continue drawing cards off of your leader's effect. You can just kind of leader effect, put it in the drop area, draw a card. And so it kind of keeps up your hand advantage a little bit, but you just want to keep at least 1 copy in your hand at all times in case things go south and you need to be able to successor really quick. And that's one of the reasons why you want to make sure you have 1-drops available to you, so that you can just kind of tap 1 energy, play the 1-drop, play this 9-drop cell over it, and then kind of go from there with your successor plays. So really, really important card, definitely needed in the deck. Next, we have 2 of the Super 17 Hell Storm Unleashed. This card really brings the deck together. He's a crit successor for 3 energy, 9. So you need to make sure you have 9 on the board, which is really easy with the cell, obviously. And then auto, whenever you play this card, your opponent crits down to 4 life. Whatever they had left over, it goes into the drop area all the way down to 4 life. So if they weren't awakened already, they're gonna be able to awaken, but they didn't get those cards from their life to their hand, so that's always a plus. And then auto, every time this card swings, your opponent taps 2 energy, or you get to choose 2 energy of your opponent's, tap it, and you draw a card. So really, really fantastic card, amazing. I love him. And plus he's a 30 crit, so I mean, they're probably gonna have to take that damage as well. So they're not gonna get any more cards either, so that's fantastic. Then we have the 9-drop successor cell. He successors for 4 energy. He's triple strike. And then auto, whenever you play this card using successor, you get to look at your opponent's hand and then choose up to 3 battle cards in their hand, place them in their owner's drop area, and then you can choose their leader card and negate its skills for the turn. So that's honestly, that effect does come up quite a bit, especially against in this meta. You have decks like Vegito, like Blue Vegito, for example, where whenever you would swing, Vegito's effect can activate if he blocks and you pop a blue card, his leader effect will activate to either awaken or to untap 1, draw 1 on your turn. So being able to negate the leader effect is really cool. You're playing against like a Janemba, you can negate their leader effect, so they can't use their leader negate for this turn. So really, really strong. Then we're playing the 1 Celzino Secret Rare. Probably one of the best secret rares in the game, in my personal opinion. He's really not that expensive anymore. He's gone down in price quite a bit, but he's still fantastic. He's quadruple strike, or I repeat, quad strike, and he has deflect, so Frostedly Poison and what's it called? Cold Bloodlust don't work on this guy. And if you're worried about cards like Chomp of the Trickster, that's what the 9-drop cell is for, because you can look at your opponent's hand, remove like the Chomp of the Trickster or the Mutaido that they have, and you can go from there. And then auto, when you play this card, if you have 5 or more energy, when you play this card, you rip 3 cards out of your opponent's hand automatically. You don't get to look at their hand, so they can kind of just like shuffle their hand. You choose 3 cards to rip out, and if you do that, then this card gains dual attack. So he's dual attack, quad strike, which is why you really want to play the Super 17, get them down to 4 life, and then on the next turn, you just play the 9-drop cell, rip 3 cards out of their hand, play the successor, or play the Celzino, rip another 3 cards out of their hand, swing for game. And that's pretty much how it goes. It's a very linear kind of control style deck, really, really simple. Next, I'm only playing 2 Unisons in this deck. I don't really know where to put this in there. Frieza Zeno. This would be the cooler Unison if I could get my hands on him. Whenever I do get my hands on him, I'll throw him in there. The cooler Unison's a little bit better. But his permanent is you can, instead of removing a marker from him, you can take a card from your life and add it to your hand instead of removing a marker. Pretty cool. A little bit of inherent protection, but not great because you are dealing damage to yourself. And then his activate main, you can drop a card, draw a card, which is pretty cool. The cooler Unison, you drop a card, draw 2 cards. So that's what you really want in this Cell deck, because like for a lot of you guys who don't know, the drawing cards aspect of Cell, your hand advantage isn't very great, but the amount of damage you deal to your opponent, like it's pretty high regardless. So even though your hand size is gonna be pretty low, you're probably gonna win as soon as the Secret Rare comes out. Then his activate main, you can choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost of 4 or less, KO it, or you can choose one of the Unison cards and make it lose a marker. So that's pretty cool too. I do like the cooler Unison a little bit better. I'll probably put a little picture of it up in the video so you guys can see what it does if you guys aren't familiar. And then the only extra cards I'm playing in the deck is 3 Shocking Death Ball. If you want this to be time magic, you can do that too. I just like Shocking Death Ball because it can pop a 1-drop on the field, and like I said, there's quite a few 1-drops in the game right now that are important. I just feel like personally time magic isn't as good right now because it really only stops, its effect is really only relevant against a card that has like dual attack. because all it does is choose another card, choose a card that's in rest mode and make it stay in rest mode. Ignoring barrier. So I'd rather use Shocking Deathball because you're getting some kind of advantage off of the card. You're popping a 1 or less, or popping a 1 drop, I mean, so at least you're getting some kind of advantage off of it. So that's the deck. If you guys enjoyed, please let me know in the comments below. If there's any changes you guys want to make, let me know. The only other card I really thought about adding in this deck was Create Android. That's also a pretty strong card for this deck to help you kind of with your draw power. But other than that, you guys let me know in the comments below. Catch you guys next time. Peace.